Counselling for Toads, a psychological adventure, was written by Robert DeBoard, a British writer who knew a lot about psychology. This book came out in 1997 and uses characters from The Wind in the Willows, a famous kids' story, to show how counseling helps with feelings. It's a fun tale mixed with real ideas about therapy, following Toad as he gets sad and learns to feel better with help from his friends and a counselor named Heron. Let's start with how the story begins. Toad isn't himself. He's not bouncing around or chasing wild ideas like he usually does. Instead, he's quiet, sitting alone in his big house, Toad Hall, feeling lost and heavy. His friends, Rat, Mole, and Badger, notice something's wrong. At first, they try to cheer him up the way friends do. Rat takes him boating on the river, Mole cooks him warm meals, and Badger gives him tough talks, telling him to snap out of it. But nothing works. Toad stays sad, his eyes dull, his voice soft, and his friends start to worry he might do something silly, like hurt himself. One day, Badger has enough. He stomps over to Toad, his paws heavy on the floor, and says, "Look here, Toad, this can't go on. You need counseling." Toad doesn't know what that means, but he's too tired to argue, so he agrees to try it. That's when Heron comes in. He's a calm bird, tall and thoughtful, who lives by the river and knows how to help people with their feelings. Toad's first meeting with him is awkward. He shuffles into Heron's quiet home, his green feet dragging, not sure what to say. Heron sits him down, his voice gentle, and asks, "Why do you feel so depressed, Toad?" Toad mumbles about his life, how he's always chasing fun but ends up crashing, how he feels like he's not good enough. Heron listens, his head tilted, and doesn't rush him. He tells Toad they'll meet 10 times, talking each time to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it. Toad's nervous, but something about Heron's steady eyes makes him want to keep going. As the weeks pass, Toad starts opening up. Heron uses a way of talking to understand how people act and feel. It's simple. He explains that everyone has 3 parts inside them: a parent, an adult, and a child. The parent is bossy, like rules from moms and dads. The adult is calm and thinks straight. The child is all about feelings, sometimes happy, sometimes naughty. Toad's confused at first. He looks puzzled, but Heron makes it easy. He says Toad's been letting his child part run wild, acting silly to hide how sad he feels, and his parent part keeps yelling at him, making him feel worse. Toad nods slowly, starting to see it, like a light flickering on in his foggy mind. One day, Heron asks Toad about his childhood. Toad leans back, his voice shaky, and talks about his dad, stern, cold, never happy with him. He remembers wanting his dad to smile, to say, "Good job, Toad," but it never happened. Instead, his dad frowned, his voice sharp, telling Toad he was too loud, too messy. Toad tried harder, showing off, doing big things, but it didn't work. Heron listens, his feathers still, and says, "Maybe that's why you act so big now, Toad. You're still trying to get that love." Toad's throat gets tight, his hands twist together because it hurts to hear, but it feels true. He starts to see how those old days stick with him, making him feel small even when he acts big. The meetings keep going, and Toad meets his rebellious child, the part of him that's loud and wild, crashing carts and stealing adventures. Heron says it's okay to have that part, but Toad needs to balance it with his adult, the part that can think and choose. One time, Badger shows up at Toad's house, grumbling about how Toad's been lazy, and Toad gets mad. He shouts, angry. But later, with Heron, he thinks about it. He sees Badger acting like a parent, bossing him around, and his child part fighting back. Heron helps him try his adult voice instead, calm, steady, and Toad feels stronger, like he's not just a toy bouncing between feelings. Friends play a big part too. Rat invites Toad for lunch one day, his boat rocking on the river, his smile warm. They eat sandwiches and talk, and Toad feels safe, his shoulders relaxing. Mole's there too, quiet but kind, his paws digging into bread, and Toad starts to laugh, a small sound at first, then bigger. It's not all fixed, he still feels heavy sometimes, but these moments help, like sunshine through clouds. Heron says friends matter, that they hold you up when you're falling, and Toad nods, his heart warm, thinking of Rat's gentle paddling and Mole's soft voice. By the last few meetings, Toad's changing. He talks about games he plays, Not fun ones, but mind games, like feeling sorry for himself to get attention. Heron calls it "poor little old me," and Toad giggles, his eyes bright because he knows it's true. He's done it forever, acting sad so people notice him. Heron helps him stop, showing him how to stand tall without tricks. Toad starts to feel proud, not the fake kind from showing off, but real, quiet pride in figuring himself out. He sits straighter, his voice clearer, and Heron smiles, his beak soft, saying, "You're doing it, Toad." The final session comes, and Toad walks into Heron's home, his steps light, his green skin shining a little brighter. He's not all better, sadness still creeps in, but he knows how to handle it now. Heron asks what's next, and Toad grins, his old spark back, saying he wants a new adventure, not crashing carts, but something real, something his. They say goodbye, Toad's hand shaking Heron's wing, his heart full of thanks. He steps outside, the river sparkling, the wind cool, and feels ready. Still Toad, still fancy, but stronger, like he's found a piece of himself he didn't know was missing. Toad leaves the riverbank, his friends waving, their voices calling good luck, heading off as a new Toad, not perfect but growing, his sadness lighter. The book closes with a happy ending, not loud or big, but quiet and real, like a friend saying, "You'll be okay." This book is special because it mixes a fun story with real help. Toad's like us, sometimes sad or lost, and Heron shows him how talking can make things better. Robert DeBoard uses Toad's silly ways to explain big ideas about feelings in a simple way. You laugh at his mistakes, but feel close to him too, because we all want love and hide our fears sometimes. The story's short but strong. It shows counseling takes work, not magic, and helps Toad get up again. Anyone who's felt down or confused can understand it, no big words needed. By the end, you're glad Toad's okay and feel a bit braver yourself. His old adventures were wild, full of noise and mess, but this one's different. It's about finding yourself with a little help.